Exclusive Trends.
Jamie from Exclusive Trends.
This is our part 2 of our answering your guys' questions across all of our platforms. So yeah, if you would have watched the first one, we dug into a bit about ourselves and the industry that we're in and answered questions about, you know, shoes that we own, shoes that we sell and stuff, and a bit more about us. So yeah, we're going to get into the video with all of the rest of the questions that you guys asked.
How much did it cost you guys roughly to open up a shop?
6 figures, baby.
Bear in mind, we only opened up as a pop-up. We were very, very lucky with the unit. The unit, although it needed a good clean and paint, it was very, very clean. I remember the night before we opened the shop, me and Jay were here wrapping pairs till 3:30 in the morning.
Do you know what? That's one of the... So I remember coming the night before, I think I left about 9:30.
Yeah.
And I think you was about 100 pairs in out of 400.
Yeah.
And I was helping put the stickers on the bottom of the shoes, and all the shoes were on the floor. Everything's had to be mopped, cleaned, and then I remember coming here at 9 o'clock the next day.
Yeah, we just had a few more.
And everything was out, and it was like them little, like, you know, like home makeover editions. Yeah, it was like coming back in the morning, it was all spotless.
5.5, 6K, which to be honest is quite a risk going in for a month pop up.
Yeah.
But again, just shows you where our focus was in terms of we want to get it done. Even if we didn't make that $6,000 up, which thankfully we did quite comfortably, even if we didn't, getting the brand out there, getting more customer base, we saw so much upside to what we were doing that we just said, no, you know what, let's do it.
We're currently doing some work behind the scenes on advertisement and stuff, and one of the guys that come in to help us, and it is actually true, I guess, in any part of life, is he said, test fast, fail quicker. Like a lot of people sit on a lot of stuff and a lot of ideas, and we get people come in all the time and say to us, you know, should I start reselling, how do I do it? And we just say to them, like, just go for it. Like,
I love that saying.
And we've seen so many people that we've met at events that, like, we've seen kids that come over to us 2-3 years ago that had 2 or 3 pairs, and now they've got 60-70 pairs in inventory. They're 15s. We see that kid with the sock business who went from a couple pairs to being one of the biggest pages on Instagram.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, it's mad. I love it when you see the kids do it.
Yeah. How do you know what shoe is going to be popular and what releases to pass on?
It's a great question. I think once you've been in the game, the amount of years me and James have been in, I think I started 2018, you were similar?
Year after.
2019. So we've both been in it 5 or 6 years now, and we've been in it intensively as well. James especially, because he's been doing it full time. And I've done all the UK shows, etc. I've literally travelled the country over the last 3 or 4 years. So has James. So you get to know what people want. You get to know the trends. I think, not going too much into our logo, but understanding the trends of things is really, really important. I think unless you're in it consistently and studying it consistently, you will make mistakes. Just like we've made mistakes in the past on purchases, but we do it less and less now because we've got that history, we've got that understanding, right?
Yeah, and I think it's also, I used to do it all the time, and this is where, like, as we were saying it earlier, is that joining cook groups will help massively.
Yeah.
You're not in the dark that way, but it's also doing your research before drops in terms of knowing where the stock's going to be, where it's going to drop. There's so many sites that tell you how many people are in demand for it, how many people are saying cop or drop, and there's so many things you need to look for. You know, like the market prices is the day before tells you a lot about the shoe, where it's going to be, and it's not easy. And you know, there's been times where I'm sure you've done it, where you think this is a banker and it drops and it just doesn't quite work. It's going to happen. It's like anything. Not every shoe is going to make you hundreds and hundreds.
Whew. Jamie's top 5 Air Max 1s and why. So my top 5 are the Para Air Max 1. I'm not going to do these in order because I won't remember them all in order. Concepts heavies. The Patta Black, Patta Waves Black. The Ridge Rock. What was my last one?
London.
Oh, and the Londons. But to be honest, I could have had a top 15, if I'm brutally honest.
Yeah. What was your favourite pair you had in stock that was painful to let go? Prior to the shop,
Yeah.
was the Jordan 1 Mocha, Travis Scott, because the order that I had taken was my size.
Right.
And if I wouldn't have taken that order, I probably would have kept it. Currently, we've got it in stock. And it's the Jordan 4 SB Pine Green. I think I will end up taking it. But I feel like when it comes to someone trying to get it, it's going to be very hesitant to serve.
Yeah. I told him he can have it for what we bought it for in December as well.
I used to be really bad at it. I'd get attached. I used to only buy my size because I had this mentality of if it didn't sell, I could keep it.
That's the first bit of advice I give you. Do not buy your size.
Yeah.
Whatever you do, don't buy it. Like I said, I was quite disciplined, but...
No, I used to always go for 10 because my mind was that if they never sold, I could keep them. And then when it got to it, I remember buying the SB Dunk Low Hennessy
Yeah.
and the Medicom toy. And I did not want to let them go. And then one of them I sold to a client, the other one I think I might have sold on Lace. And at the time I didn't want that £15 fee. So I let them go, but yeah, I would avoid staying away from your size.
The three that definitely get to me are the Ridge Rocks, the Londons, Air Max 1s, and the Travis 1 Low Mocha.
Yeah. What shoes do you have in your personal collection?
So like I said, I ain't got many, so I'll go first, get out of the way. I'm an old man, and I feel older than I actually am. So I like comfort. So other than these, which I'm breaking in today just for this video, by the way.
They're coming off after.
They're not my sort of comfort level. My brother tells me that SBs are the most comfortable things, but I disagree. So I have a pair of 350s, Onyx, 700 Wave Runners. I've got the Paras Concept Heavies and the Patta Aqua Air Max 1s. The Stussy Huaraches, really comfortable shoe by the way. I think it's underrated how comfortable Huaraches are. Foam Runners, Stone Sage, and a pair of Jordan flip flops. I'm probably missing one. Oh, I've got the New Balance. Again, going back to comfort. I've got the New Balance protection pack from the bluey purple ones, which are so comfortable by the way. And the charity I work for is sponsored by New Balance, so it works out well. Roughly, I'm sure I'm missing a couple, but like I said, I'm all about comfort. I'm not about anything other than that, really.
We're going to read them all.
No, we'll be all
I'll
day.
go in a couple of days of... So I have... This is actually one of my favourite pairs ever of SBs, the ISO purple label. I love the big money savings. I picked them up recently. Dunklow City Markets was talking about yesterday. The St Patrick's Day, I bought that purely to wear when I used to go to events for good luck, or when I needed a bit of luck. I have a pair of Foam Runners. I don't even know what the name is of that one. I'll insert a photo, it'll be easier. I have some Jordan 4 Oreos, some Midnight Navies, some Jordan 3 like Wizard Blue from 2013, Monarch Pattas. I like a variety. Do you know what? I get bored very easily on certain shoes.
You love an SB though, don't you?
I do love an SB. Do you know what I love? The stories behind a lot of them.
Yes.
How they're made, the background to shoes, or why they choose certain people to do collabs. It's more of a meaningful shoe.
The Why So Sads, for example, another great message behind that shoe.
The one I want is the Street Hawker with the prawn on the side of it. I love that one.
What was the scariest part about upscaling your business from one frozen yellow 350 to a 6K deal? Hazel me. So the person who's asked that question, the person I originally got into sneakers with. So the truth of it is, I would never have got into sneakers. My background, by the way, for many years, is a professional tennis coach. Not that you would think that, but and I was pretty good, I promise. And we'd just come in from a breakfast club. I used to work at Clapton Girls Academy in Hackney. And we'd just come in from a breakfast club, and my assistant coach was buying frozen yellows on the computer. And he was putting 2 or 3 in the basket. I was like, are we paying you too much? I was thinking, how's he doing this? They're like 180 quid a pop at the time. And he's putting them, he goes, oh, I'm not buying them for myself, I'm buying them to resell. I was like, hold up, what do you mean? He goes, well, I'm going to buy them and I'm going to sell them for about 250 quid. So I said, you're going to buy these and someone's going to pay you 250 quid. And as mad as it is, that is how I got into sneaker reselling. The person I'm talking about is Fee. We jumped on the computer straight away, logged onto Foot Locker, and we bought 2 pairs each as well. No, Creperie London it was called, I think. Creperie London.
That's so weird because I remember that.
I've seen that. Creperie London was one that me and a really good friend of mine started. So she got a couple, I got a couple, and that is where it started, mate. Literally to that point. And to go to the question of why we went from that to a 6k deal or even bigger deals that we've done recently. I think I've always had that drive to push something. I've had a couple of other businesses that for different reasons didn't work out. One of them doing really well, but then COVID just absolutely killed it because the business model was around using school facilities. And school facilities were shut down for 2 years after COVID. So a bit unfortunate with that one. But the shoes was also a non-physical one. So tennis coaching was always physical all the time. Whereas the shoes, it was buy a pair, get them delivered, ship them off. It was a lot less stress for me.
Favourite shoe?
So we've not done that. Oh, we've done favourite Air Max 1. For me, that's my answer. Because I am massive on Air Max 1s.
I'll say... See, this is a real controversial one because I'll say my favourite shoe is generally just the SB Dunk. My favourite shoe of all time is the Saucony Foot Patrol only in Soho.
Jeez, that is specific.
And I can't buy it anywhere because there is none on the marketplace and there's no bid on StockX and it's not on any other listing.
So this is your plea to YouTube.
So please help James find the...
I bet it's not even his favourite shoe. I think he's just...
I know I'll get it and never wear it. I've just wanted it for so long and I've never been able to get past that.
How are you? Wow. That's a nice question. I'm good. I'm a little bit fatigued. I'm working 7 days a week and I'm sure James can relate to this. Owning a business, I've really struggled to turn off. I actually do it pretty well when I'm working with the charity Monday to Thursday during the day because I know James has got everything covered. But then as soon as I finish that role, 5, 6 o'clock, whatever time it might be, me and him are texting and having phone calls and I can't switch my brain off. So although I'm good, but I know I'm probably not sustainable at the moment. So
I think anyone that runs an online business knows that especially the online part of it is 24/7. That's the hardest bit about it is, especially when we're so big on customer service, being to the point and making sure that everything's live and ready and everything's pristine. There's a lot of hours that just go missing of the night trying to get it all done, and before it's 11, 12, and then for you have to get up in the morning and go do another job and then back to it. So
no, it's a lot right now, but the one thing I say is that I'd never complain about it because we chose this, right? We chose this life. We chose to push this business on and make a big difference to our lives. Overall good. Similar state for you?
I'm sweet.
You're sweet. James is always sweet.
I say that. I woke up this morning and had really bad heartburn from Nando's last night.
By the way, we started this video at 7 AM, so if we look a little jaded, apologies.
Single most profit on a shoe?
Oof, easy one for me. I think when I was doing the business with Fee, I think we hit 3 Travis Scott highs, mockers, the original, for retail on sneakers.
That's mad.
Back in the day, by the way, it was so easy to hit. I felt like that anyway. I don't know how early you started, but...
So I'd started around then. The bots are definitely a lot more powerful now, but also the stock numbers.
I feel like there's more people in the game now as well. There's more youngsters trying to get onto it. Which isn't a bad thing, by the way. Everyone's got to do their thing, but certainly once COVID hit, I found it so much harder to get shoes for retail. We hardly get anything for retail now.
No.
But we got that for, it was 165 retail, and we sold for just under 1,200. So there was some very nice profit on those pairs. And we lost one of them, UK 13, the Royal Mail done us.
That was probably the best size as well, wasn't it, in terms of profit?
Do you know what? I think the 9 or 9.5. I can't remember which one we had. That had more at the time.
Yeah.
But I think the 13 would be up there now.
Hit the Travis Lowe mocker for Talon sneakers, and I'd already pre-sold it at, I think it was 1,500 at the time. And I was give myself that margin in case I didn't hit, and actually entered 2 minutes before, fell back to sleep, woke up and see a bank charge. And so that was cool, because that was my first ever win on sneakers that I'd actually done.
Nice. Right, what is a healthy amount of trainers to have in your personal collection? Oh, mate. I really just think it comes down to the individual. I've got 9 or 10, and I really make sure I rotate them. So it's quite a nice number for me. I think for me personally, anything over that, I would struggle to wear all my pairs.
My answer is, if you've got 2 or 3, well and truly, one, you're lucky, because some people don't have shoes.
Oh, 100%.
But I think it's easy to get carried away with buying, but I generally think if I just had the 6 that I rotate all the time, I would rather prefer that than more options.
Says the man with 40 pairs.
How ironic.
No, I get it, 100%.
First silhouette of sneaker that you resold?
The frozen yellow Yeezy 350.
Mine was the SB Dunk Low.
Crater? I don't even know what that one is.
I'll add a picture here. To sum it up, I won it online. I wasn't actually reselling at this time. Didn't fit. Went to send it back. It was overseas. It was going to cost me 70 odd quid. And then someone just said, why don't you put it on eBay? That is literally how mine started.
What keeps you guys going in this industry, and what are the practical things you do to stay current and in tune with it?
I see this question yesterday and I thought, what a question.
That's a great question, really good question. Do you want to start or do you want me to start?
I got a feeling the answers would be very similar. I think one of it is, one thing we do really well is we treat everything like an open book.
Yes.
We never get stuck in our ways. The sneakers adapt. Last year, or the year prior, was the Nike Dunks. It was easy, you didn't have to think. Now the market's changing. It's like the Wales Bonners and the Sambas. Like, we adapt to it all the time. And I think it's one thing we do really well to stay in tune with it is we do a lot of data on the back end that we draw from sales and what we get asked to source, what we get asked to buy. And then at the end of each month, we'll study that and know that we're running low on this or we're running low on these sizes. Yeah. And one thing that I learned especially, which opened my eyes up, is people follow idols more than what I think most people think. And Molly May with the Sambas and the Specials the Uggs was a crazy one. Yeah. She posted that photo of her wearing Uggs. The next minute, Uggs was sold out anyway. And I think it's like reading between the lines, and a lot of it's intuition, it's gut, but
we've got a couple on the shelves that have done well, right? That you wouldn't necessarily think in a normal reselling area would happen, but I think gut's a good one. In terms of what keeps me going is the fact that I know we want to build a brand. So we don't just want to have a store, we want to build a brand. So when you've got a lot more goals to hit and a lot more areas that you want to focus on, I think that's certainly what motivates me and keeps me going. And then staying current, we're quite lucky. Like I said, I'm quite a bit older than James, so he's really into his fashion. He's got a lot of nice clobber and he still likes all that sort of stuff. I'm very plain Jane nowadays, but he's got his finger on that pulse. And I feel like I've got my finger where I used to watch a lot of Common Hype and 2J's Kicks and all those sorts of stuff. And I still watch a lot of their content to create ideas and stuff like that. I think I am trying to learn the business side a lot more. So working closer with the accountants and all that sort of stuff. And it's just keeping us current on the back end. And James said he's very good. If I owned this store by myself, the Specials and the Wales Bonners, the Adidas stuff, probably wouldn't be on the shelves. But that would be wrong because the variation is really key.
It's funny because a lot of people that are into sneakers will know 2J's Kicks, and I've always followed him. I find him such an interesting guy.
Yeah, he's great.
And I was lucky enough to meet him in Sneakercon in Japan, and he took the time to speak with me for over an hour. And I said to him, what's the most important part about diversifying and growing a business? And he said, it's important that you pivot at all times. And I was a bit like, that's pretty broad. And then he told me that it needs to be broad, and you can't be focused in on just one thing. You have to,
What's up next?
how we've gone from having a couple t-shirts to a full row of t-shirts to now shorts to now tracksuits to full sets to it's just learning. Again, obviously we pick it up off our data, but it's just having that open mind.
Oh no, I don't like that reaction at all.
Are you and Jamie a couple? How did you two meet? So Jamie approached me in a bar one night.
We are not a couple.
No. Everyone thinks that we're either brothers or...
I'm your dad. Just met at the events.
We're literally with a Kinder Bueno. We were setting up to each other, and not to go into too much detail, a lot of people are very tight on space because a lot of the events there's not a lot of space. And I remember we just sat there and we was just like, what works for each other? And we just sorted it out. There was no issues. And then we was chatting and then just saying, do you want a Kinder Bueno? And then that was it, and then we just started talking, and then the events,
and James obviously had some of his pairs here in December as well. So and he lives local to the shop, so he was in and out quite often. Even at the launch day, you weren't the whole day with us as well, pretty much. So yeah, so he's always been involved, but just not officially. And then obviously he come back from Japan. We had the opportunity to keep the store, but with me having a full-time job and silent partner having a full-time job, it wasn't really viable. We were thinking about opening just Friday to Sunday, which might have worked in terms of building up the anticipation throughout the week and people coming in, but really and truly we knew what we wanted. And like I said, James brings a lot of different skill set to the table, and that balance has meant that we've grown this a lot quicker than we'd envisaged. What's the most expensive pair of trainers you have sold? We answered that both in the same question. Yeah. Mine was definitely the 1,200 quid for the J1 Travis Scott hire.
Mine was the Red Octobers, but if you're talking about my specific pair that I owned, it would be the
Mocha Lows.
What's your favourite part of the job?
I feel like my favourite part of the job will be working with this man and silent partner on a full-time basis at some point in the future. There's a real thing at the moment of working in the business rather than on it. And we need to find that balance at some point in the future. Maybe 6 months to a year, I don't know how long it's going to take, but at some point we need to find that balance of, me and James have got such big plans, but you can't really put those plans into action whilst we're in it. We need to work on those plans. Those that have got businesses, I'm sure you'll understand that line. So right now, for me, it's the chase to get to that point.
Me and silent partner, we all love working together, which is one of the biggest. We laugh non-stop from start to finish when we're together. I think we set ourselves mini milestones and stuff to hit, and for us, I know some people think, oh, it's a bit corny, but like when we hit our first YouTube videos, it was like something that we wanted to tick off that gets done. And I think sometimes we sit there, and I think a lot of business owners do it, forget how far you've come as a business. And I think that's cool when we look back and go, oh, actually we achieved this or we achieved that, and we exceed our own expectations. I think that's the best bit, like the data side of it and the numbers. I also love just the general customer interaction side when we have people come in, especially maybe younger ones for like birthdays and stuff, and we try and give them the full experience. Or we had a kid the other day who'd been searching for Jordan 4 Thunders and 5.5 in his size. I think doing it online is one thing, and having a message going, oh yeah, my son's really happy, is cool. But when you see them walk out of here, do you know what I mean? And we're providing a service that no one else really in this area is doing.
Shoe you are most looking forward to? Oh, there's nothing for me personally that I'm looking forward to in terms of personal. For the shop, I'm looking forward to those, as long as they do a proper release, is those Jordan Paris.
Yeah.
I think they are going to be a handful. I don't think there's a personal shoe. There might be another Patta Air Max 1 releasing soon.
I see a Jordan 1 low with a pink tick. Massive fan of that.
I've seen it. That's 2025 is coming, right?
Quite liked. I see one yesterday, which was the all brown pair that was expected to be released. I like it because it's simple, so it'd be quite a cool pair.
For the same reason, actually, the olive Travis Scott 1 low would be one I'd be interested in.
I've never owned an all black pair of shoes.
Oh, I own the Onyx.
I'm looking forward to like the Jordan 3 Black Cat if it drops, and especially for the store, the Jordan 3, the Jordan 4 and the Jordan 5 Black Cat, if we get the full release towards Christmas for the shop. I'm looking forward to that. Because I think we must get 10 people a day ask for black cats and try and explain that they're
any of them would buy them, by the way, if they were in
£1,000 buy now. What a banging question to end. Are you planning on opening more shops?
That is a big question.
Yeah, it's a nice little question to me.
Yeah. Yes, we are. But I think one thing me and James are quite particular on is that James has highlighted that with all the data that he checks over at the end of the month. We need to get this one right, to get the bread and butter right before we go on to the next one. I don't want to be one of those companies, ideally, and these things happen where we run before we can walk and end the second store and then having to close it down.
Do you know what? You'd literally just take the words out. And this is not particularly in our industry, and I'm saying in others I've seen it where they get their first bite of success and then they grow and it's just not sustainable. And then more, I think we said a few months ago about treating this like our hub as we grow out. No specific area on where yet or something like that. It's about finding that balance to know that the data that we can provide, where if we step into that area we can hit the ground running rather than spending the next year building this to then another 2 years to build that one into, and then it becomes a big problem rather than launching success.
I think the biggest one for me is we need to build the brand before we grow. Getting Trent's brand out there. We've got multiple ways we're looking to do that. One of them, by the way, getting to know you guys. So watching this for the first time, please make sure you subscribe and like and share to as many people as you can, because we are here to stay. We're not going to be one of those fly on the wall type enterprises. We are in this for the long haul. So it'd be great to have as many of you as possible on the journey with us.
And I think, saying this to someone the other day, he come into the store, he had no idea about shoes, his son was into shoes, and I was explaining it to him that people don't realise when you open stores, and cash flow is a major, it's not an issue, but in terms of, for most companies, the biggest growth is cash flow. That to acquire 400 to 500 pairs of shoes takes a lot of time, and to get the right shoes, if you combine our years together, it's nearly taken 10 years to essentially happen. So one of them where you don't want to open a store in maybe a bit of a bigger location with 200 pairs, it's just not sustainable. No. If you think of how many shoes we turn over in a month, to have 5 times.
It's true, and it's not easy. And again, if we was to open a second store, it's in that position where all 3 of us are working on the business rather than in it. Now, we're all working in it, and 2 of us only part-time. We've still got a journey to go.
It'd be interesting to see whoever watches this and has made it this far, where would they like to see a next store opening?
It would be interesting. Definitely comment that below if you'd like to see a Trends shop next.
And also feel free to answer any of the questions that were asked about your growls or your own shoe collections. If you resell, I know a lot of the people that are on the page are also resellers, so let us know profitable shoe, maybe worst investment, as much interaction as possible. So we try to get back to everyone, and we've tried to answer, I think we've answered every question that's been asked.
I think we will keep pushing, and I'm sure in maybe post-Christmas we might do another one of these, or just pre-Christmas maybe, or halfway through December.
Maybe we should do a 2024, yeah we are.
Yeah.
Jesus, 2025 prediction at the end of the year, and then review at the year out. But yeah, appreciate everyone for tuning in and taking the time. We hope you enjoyed this video. As Jamie said, keep liking and subscribing, and we shall see you on Thursday.